Okay, so let's start with theory lessons. So in each lessons, so like the introductory part or class or attribute, you have one or more theory lessons which are sort of an introduction to a concept or to some code examples and so on before you can start working on these tasks, the questions and so on. So let's start with the class lesson, and the first thing is a theory lesson called What is a Class? So once you click on it, the lesson content is here on the right, and you can see that this is all what you will learn in this lesson, and here is the lesson. So lessons contain basic concept definitions, but also examples. So for example, here is an example of a class named car, and here is a figure with actually a UML diagram which explains what is a car and so on, and what are its elements and so on. So there are also examples which are not just graphical and so on, but they are code examples. So each time you have some code which is attached to the example, there will be a link to the code provided. So you can click on it here in the lesson, and that code will appear here in the code editor. So what are these code files? They're also here displayed left in the navigator. You can click on them like this, and they will open in the editor. You can close them here in the editor, and that's a normal operation. And once you go on through your lessons, here's the keyboard explained, the special characters, their layout, and so on. Once you get to the code examples, at some point you will be able to run them also, and not in this lesson, but in other lessons. There is also here a link to the code for the class car, which is already here, and to the person class you can click on it, and so on and so on. So what is important here, after you read this theory lesson, you will usually have the final heading here saying most common errors, and it's really important for you to read it, because most common mistakes, because here are listed the most common mistakes which you will probably make when you start writing the code. So for example, for classes, instead of using the reserved word class in lowercase letters, you start writing it like this or like this. So that's one common error, syntax error. Forgetting to open or close the braces is also common. Using a single slash instead of a double slash for a single line comment, and so on and so on. So here is also an important note on the tasks, but also please read the theory lesson before you start working on the task, because many of the tasks are actually testing if you have learned these parts of the lesson. So this is a theory lesson, what is a class, and for example, a theory lesson on objects, program execution, and so on is here. So you can see that in this lesson you have multiple classes, multiple files, source code files, and for example, if I scroll down and find some example which can be run, okay, so we have a class named motorcycle2. We click on the code, the link opens the code, which is actually the motorcycle2 class, and it's also here, is the same thing. And if you want to run it, there is a class named test, which creates an object of the motorcycle class and so on, and you can run it here just by clicking on this and then run test main and so on. So, and that's how you go about with your lessons. And also, as in the previous lessons, theory lessons, you have the most common errors section here. So for example, this is incorrect, writing a class with the lowercase first letter. Instead it should be with the capital M, and so on and so on.